PowerUp GOGI Boss of My Brain meeting. I'm Coach Catherine. I'm a Train the Trainer specialist, and I will be your coordinator today. Coach Johnny Howe is facilitating along with me. GOGI's intention is that this PowerUp communities start up anywhere and everywhere they are desired. Joining us today is Coach Taylor. You might know her as the founder of GOGI. Take it away, Coach Taylor.
Today, if you have this book, go ahead and turn to page 260, 265, whatever, and you will see that it's Boss of My Brain. Now, Boss of My Brain, you hold your PowerUp meetings for Boss of My Brain on first week of January, the first week of April, first week of July, and first week of October. However, if it doesn't fall into one of those weeks and you're watching this, that's okay. We would rather have you with us than not. But if you have a choice, make sure you study this tool on that set of weeks, and you will never be alone in your study of your PowerUp tools. That Boss of My Brain was actually the very first tool that was discussed. It was way back in the early 2002, and a group of federal prisoners and I were sitting on the cool tile floor of FCI Terminal Island. And we were talking about the brain's neurology. We were talking about the brain itself and how we are really in charge even when we don't think we are. And in these meetings, the men would talk to me about things, and I would go back to the physical library because we didn't really have a lot of libraries online yet at that time. And I'd look through books on the brain and the brain's neurology, and I'd come back and share that with them. So I came back on this Wednesday at noon at Terminal Island, sat on the floor, and I was so excited. I said, here, let me tell you a little bit about the brain, and here's how neurons work and mirror neurons, and here's how we can create new neurological habits. And one guy just paused and he said, wow, what you're telling me is that I can be boss of my brain? And at that moment, I pulled out the little golf pencil I was allowed to have, and I wrote that down, boss of my brain. And that became the very first tool that we added to our GOGI toolbox. It was through a gentleman, for the first time possibly ever in his life, realizing that he could be the boss of his brain. So that's our history. All of the tools have a beautiful, rich history, and I'm happy to share that one with you.
Thank you so much, Coach. I think that's really important. So at this time, we're going to pass it to Ernesto to start the meeting.
Good morning. The GOGI tools are studied worldwide according to the GOGI calendar of study. We unite with others according to this schedule, so no one will feel they are alone in their effort to make positive decisions. We believe in everybody's ability to benefit from this positive community of individuals united on the GOGI calendar of study. Therefore, we call this PowerUp, Boss of My Brain meeting to order, and we join in the tool being studied by students of GOGI everywhere. Review of the tools. Boss of My Brain, belly breathing, 5-second light switch, positive thoughts, positive words, positive actions. Claim responsibility, let go, forgive, what if, reality check, and ultimate freedom. The PowerUp purpose. The objective of PowerUp community meeting is to reinforce the use of the GOGI tools and support positive community experiences. We accomplish our objective through the study of the GOGI tools shared in peer mentor circles according to the GOGI calendar of study. And this pretty much keeps the tools fresh in my mind. I mean, I study them and I acknowledge them on a daily basis, but the fact that we can get together and share them and talk makes them that much more powerful in my life, and I hope it does in everybody else's life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ernie. So today we're going to check in, and something interesting. It's supposed to be one of the hottest days, possibly 100 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to check in as a temperature from 1 to 100, 1 being I want to be in bed laying with my dog and my wife, and then 100 meaning like, man, I'm excited to be here. This is where I need to be. So for me, I'm about a 99 degrees. I am excited to be here, get to identify what my grandchildren are going to be. And my daughter's having twins, and I'm excited about that. And just life is amazing, and I'm happy to be here.
Wow, I check in at 8. You know, it have nothing to do with it being an 8 versus a 10 of me not wanting to be here, because I got up and got here, and I got your text early this morning, Johnny. You know? But no, I just like to always leave room for growth, you know, because, you know, though I came in feeling the 8, I'm sure I could possibly leave here feeling the 10, you know. And the reason why I say 8, because I'm just almost depleted, just working, you know, trying to help folks out, trying to help folks get outside these prisons, because a few of them already have COVID and have other underlying issues. So I just been like overworked, you know, but glad to be here. Glad to see you guys.
Let's see, I'm a 90. And that's because I want to be here and need to be here this morning. I'm so glad we're doing Boss of My Brain. I think that lately I've been letting, you know, going into that mindset of so-and-so made me angry and so-and-so this or that. And this tool really reminds me that I'm in control of how I let myself feel and how I react to other people's actions, and I'm the one in control of myself. So I'm really glad to be here today.
I'm at a 95. I have a little bit of distraction going on in the household, but I am excited to be here, excited to learn. Life is great. God is great. Just, you know, still looking for employment. So that's a little bit of a struggle, but God is able, and in his timing, it's going to happen. So I'm doing great.
I think right now I'm 100. I was really frustrated when I couldn't get on this morning and my internet wasn't working, and I need to have a grandchild around here, or even my great grandkids are better with it, with all this technology than I am. So now that I'm here, and I really love Boss of My Brain, that's the easiest one to teach the grandkids and the great grandkids. So I was really looking forward today. So I'm 100 right now.
Today, I'm close to 100. I can say 100, yeah. I mean, I was having a little frustration trying to get on this morning, like Carolyn said, but now that I'm on, I'm fine now. I'm feeling 100%. Yeah. Everything, you know, the sky's blue. The world looks nice today, so I feel okay.
Well, I am sure that the boiling point is at 100, or whatever the boiling point is. That's where I am. So grateful for wonderful opportunities that are coming our way. And while sometimes change is difficult, sometimes change is painful, if we keep our eye focused on the end result we're getting, there's no reason to be anything but happy. So yeah, off the hook, boiling point.
So I would say I am about 99.9. I am very happy to have the ability to be where I want to be and be where I need to be. So this morning, I understand that this is where I need to be. And I'm glad that I can be here. So that's where I'm at, and very happy to be here with you guys.
I can't deny it. I'm at 99 right now. I'm, you know, from all the comments that everybody's been saying that God is good and at his time, yes, God is good and in his own time. The wait was a little difficult, but we're here. We're here, and I'm exactly where I need to be. So you know, I'm just 99, and I'm overjoyed at being here and being able to share with you guys and communicate with you guys and you know, get this message across that of the GOGI tools, because they did make a big difference in my life.
I am going to go with 99.5 just to be very unique, because there's always room for improvement. Anyone who knows me, I've been concerned about family health matters, and right now, though they're not out of the woods completely, just really high energy, positive outlook on life, and that makes me feel so good to know they're in a good place despite challenges. It means a lot to me, and so the day is starting out great, and I expect it to continue to get even better. So so thank you for that, and everyone for being here.
Can I clear something up? Because I was used to the 1 to 10 scale, and when I checked in at an 8, right? Yeah. I said I wanted room for improvement, but that's a whole lot of need, right? But I meant 80 on your scale from to 100. I meant 80.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. So at this time, we're going to invite a couple people to share their experience with the tool Boss of My Brain. And usually I don't do this, but I'm going to pick Ernie.
Thank you. I mean, I've had difficulties throughout my transitioning period, but I would just like to, I got brought to San Diego. I wanted to be in LA, and I just had to trust in God. I was gonna be deported, and all my plans were to go to Mexico. So I got paroled here, and I started afresh, and I've been having a bumpy road, but I just stayed in the passenger seat and let God take over the steering wheel. Just last week they had told me that. I'm sorry, I lost connection there.
It's okay. Or do you want to finish your story?
Yeah, so last week, like I said, I was given a schedule from my OHS so I can get my driver's license. And, my schedule said that my class was over on the 14th of last month. And everything went helter-skelter after that. They said their goodbyes, and I jumped for joy, and I was, ready to go in to the DMV to apply for my driver's license. And then I get an email from her telling me that I still need 5 more meetings. So I blew it. I was in. It was early in the morning, and I sat there and I felt my physical triggers kick in. My blood was boiling, and I was so frustrated that I felt like crying. I was so frustrated because things weren't going my way, and I just had to remind myself of how these tears wanted to come out of my eyes, and I said, man, these emotions are running wild. And that's when Boss of My Brain kicked in. And then I said, I can't let my emotional part take over here, and nor can I let my old habit part take control of me here. So all I could do is just pray a little bit. I had a life skills Zoom meeting later on that day, which helped me. But if everywhere I go, I literally have my GOGI book with me, because if I have some spare time, even if it's a tool that I know, I always like reading about it. And Boss of My Brain has really helped me through this. And so 4 days after I get these news of my OHS being extended till August now, I get news that my parole transfer was granted, and I'm going to be heading out to LA tomorrow. So I'm overjoyed, and I'm glad that I acknowledge the fact that my emotions were taking control of me. My emotional part of my brain was taking control of me, and that I could stop it. So, it works. It works. I remember when I first started, I had to remind myself, but now it kicks in naturally. And I'm just grateful for that. I'm just grateful for that. These tools really work. Thank you for letting me share.
And I think that's a great point, is that when it comes to these GOGI tools at first, we've been living a certain way for so long, and they may not come as naturally in the beginning, but as you continue to practice them, they become easier, like second nature. They just click in. So one thing is, Ernie said he started a long time ago, and Ernie was one of the guys that was with me and Randy on buckets and sitting in the back of a day room when me and Randy would build meetings.
All I want to say is I use my GOGI tools 24/7. I wake up with my TWAs. I'm at 110 24/7. Thank you, GOGI. Thank you, Coach Taylor. I met Coach Taylor in 2011. She showed me the GOGI tools at Soledad, and I've been using them every day since 2011, from my psych meeting to my pro board hearing. And I got out and I'm using it and I'm sharing them every day. They work. They're unbelievable. I've been having a belly breathe to get through here real quick. I've been having a belly breathe. Help me, help me. I finally got on. You guys are awesome. The GOGI tools, they are so wonderful. I share them all the time. You can't go wrong.
At this time, Mariano, would you like to do a quick review?
Certainly, thank you. So today we're talking about focusing on Boss of My Brain. I would like to share a little bit about the objective. So Boss of My Brain was created to help us realize the control we have over our thoughts. When we use Boss of Our Brains, we may realize that we are the boss of our own thinking. And as a result, we are the creators of our own life experiences. So the statement of tool ownership for Boss of My Brain is as follows. I am boss of my brain, and I claim control over each thought I create. Because I am boss of my brain, I can change my thoughts at any time. No one has control over my thoughts because only I am boss of my brain. The keywords that go along with boss of my brain are the three parts. And these three parts consist of the smart part, the emotional part, and the old habit part. To use Boss of My Brain, I ask which part is in charge right now. And as we understand, this is psychology teaches this also. This is scientifically proven. The basics for Boss of My Brain is to use this tool. You simply consider three fundamental parts of the brain over which you have control: the smart part, the emotional part, and the old habit part. Smart part, when you put your hand on your forehead, you are touching the area of your brain responsible for making decisions and learning new information. We call it the smart part because this is the part of your brain that will help you be strong and make the most positive decisions. The emotional part, when you touch each side of your head just above your ears, you are pointing to the center of your brain that GOGI calls the emotional part. It is in the center of your brain where you create and store emotions. When you use this tool, you become more aware of this part of your brain, and you can better decide if you want it in control or not. Excuse me. The old habit part. When you put your hand just above your neck on the back of your head, you are touching what GOGI calls the old habit part. When you use Boss of My Brain, you can better assess if you want your old habits to be in control or not.
So at this time, we're going to do a quick activity. And what we want to do is we want to invite a couple people to share an experience where someone used the tool Boss of My Brain and maybe didn't even know it. So if get a couple people to volunteer to share that would be amazing.
Recently, when I was at my last place of employment, there was a lot of friction and things going on. And I have a little bit of an impulse issue, and I voice how I feel. It's very hard for me to really control. It's not anger. It's always said calmly and in love. But if I feel that something is unjust or just not going the right way, I shoot it out without thinking and without really choosing my words carefully. But, I went back and I did use Boss of My Brain, and I rethought the process and was a little bit more conscious of how to present things and not go by emotion, but actually control the thinking process. And I thought about GOGI and the training that I got on the inside while I was doing it.
One of the things since 2002 in working with individuals with this particular tool, what we have discovered is the Boss of My Brain is a tool that is not used by people who suffer from depression. They just don't utilize this tool. However, when they start utilizing this tool, no one wants to feel depressed, and utilizing the smart part, emotional part, or old habit part filter allows them to start saying, well, let me smart think. So those individuals who are experiencing a sense of hopelessness or depression, this is a really good tool to just pull out of that toolbox, because it works like magic. Just keep using it, even if you say, I'm trying to be Boss of My Brain, I'm thinking positive, but it's not working. Keep at it, because once you bust through that resistance, that tool will allow that happiness to start flooding in. So Boss of My Brain is very good during times when we feel like things are not in our control. It's a beautiful tool for allowing you to feel better.
Thank you, Coach. And I think a great point too, James, we're going to come to you next. I think a great point too is that the brain doesn't understand I don't want to, or I'm not, or no. When you say I don't want to use drugs, what the brain hears is I want to use drugs. So positive conversation, internal conversation, positive thoughts, words, actions are very important, and understanding the power of suggestion. Coach James, you were going to share?
Yeah, I was just thinking about the time when I first got out after doing that long stretch, and I didn't really have much. Like, I didn't have anywhere to go and didn't know for sure what my future was going to be. I just basically, put it all in God's hands. And I had the GOGI tools I came home with. I had already been utilizing them for a few years. So inside, I knew I was going to be all right. But you're never really ready for the challenge of what the world's going to throw at you until you actually get out there and see how it's going to come at you and everything. And so I was in a wheelchair, and I had failed at work. And so I paroled inside of a wheelchair and didn't really have anywhere to go. And they didn't have any resources for parolees anymore. Well, not for me, actually, anyways. They didn't have a place for me to go, like a housing or any kind of transitional housing. So I was from place to place, place to place, place to place. I was from couch to floor to wherever I could go. And my parole officer even told me, he said, James, I'm worried about you because I had to check in every single week. No matter where I was trying to find somewhere to go, I had to check in every single week. And he was like, James, I'm worried about you because I know you want to be out, but you're out there exposing yourself to all the world challenges. And they're coming at you fast, and I don't know if you're prepared for them. And so he started worrying me, because I was like, wow, man, if he's seen so many people fail, he probably can see something. But I didn't let that deter me, though. I told myself, I said, no matter what, if you want something bad enough and you're really determined to go and get it, and you had a wherewithal to put it in motion, then you can achieve it. You know what I mean? So that was what I used as motivation, and I just became the boss of my brain. And I told myself, there's no way in the world that I'm going to fail. I did too much time. I have too much to offer to the world. And the world has a lot to offer me that I missed out on. So, in order for that marriage to become the way I really wanted it to be, I had to get out here and actually do what I needed to do. So, long story short, I met my wife, everything turned out right. We built us a future together. We have beautiful children together. And, the world's looking nice now. It's beautiful to me. Every day I wake up, I say the world looks nice. And people ask me, why do you say that? The world looks nice because it looks better than a jail cell. That's why. The sunrise, the sunset, the trees, everything, it just looks better than a cell to me or a rec yard. So that's how I became the boss of my brain when I first got home.
Thank you, Coach James. That's a great idea about perspective. I want to share something really quick, a quick story. There's a lady who got into a car accident and ended up missing her leg. And because her leg was missing, she thought her life was over and no one would want her. And her life was just never going to be the same, and she was considering suicide. So she goes to the doctor, and she sees a little boy walk in, and he's missing an eye. And she tells the little boy, what's wrong? He's like, nothing, I'm a pirate. And she's thinking like, man, this little boy's missing an eye, and it's just dealing with it differently. So the doctor calls her in, and as she gets up, the little boy sees that she's missing a leg, and the little boy asks her, what's wrong with you? And she says, nothing, I'm a pirate too. So that quick, we can change our perspective on how we experience. And the way we do that is through bossing my brain. Understanding that I have the power to control how I perceive something. And one thing that's really, really powerful that I've experienced is that thoughts create feelings. And if I can control what I think, I can control how I feel. And understanding like situations are going to happen. But I don't have to look at it like, oh, this is happening to me. It's happening for me because there's a lesson that I need to learn. And there's something in life that I have to experience to go to the next level. A lot of times we're experienced like being at a fork in the road. And there's things that are going to encourage us. And they're not always going to be a gentle nudge. It might be a kick in the butt sometimes. But it's, for me, I've experienced it's what I've needed. So one thing that I want to share is for myself, like Randy said, at one time we've all experienced insecurities and fears and things like that. And so at one time in my life, I wasn't always the boss of my brain. So there's a story about, as you might be able to tell, I love to tell stories. So what happened was there was a guy who raised chickens, and he found an eagle egg. So what happened was he ended up bringing the egg in with all the chickens, and the egg hatched. And so what happened was the eagle started looking at the chickens and started acting like a chicken. It would cluck, it would peck, it would move just like a chicken. So one day when they're all out, the chickens and the baby eagle, they look up in the sky and they see a few eagles flying around. And the one eagle was like, man, those eagles are amazing. Like, I would love to be able to do that. And the chickens told him, you can't, you're a chicken. So what happened was, because of his belief, and he wasn't boss of his brain, he always believed he was a chicken. And in life, I lived as a chicken. I lived as a follower. And the encouragement is to become the boss of your brain and eventually make the choices that you want to make that are best for your future, that are best for your family, that are best for your community, and stop living like a chicken as a follower and just being like, well, this is how it has to be. If all of us lived it like it how it had to be, we wouldn't be out of prison today. So the encouragement is to make choices that are positive, choices that are going to get you out of prison, and choices that are going to lead you to the future that you want.
Yeah, no, I echo what you just said too. And, you know, my experience with being the boss of my brain is, you know, even after being home, you know, going through a tough situation, you know, losing my mother, and then the same month, my sister being murdered, you know, and I know even like when we made those transitions, when I made the transition, it was always said like, you know, just being protecting of our families, the women in our lives, right? The one thing that we would go back for, right? And I came home and it happened, you know, but me knowing that I had to stay in control and barely breathe, and then realize that I need to stay being the boss of my brain, you know, and God's doing, you know, God's doing. The individual ended up turning himself in and went back, went to prison, and you know, and I was telling my brother that you know, it's good that things happen like this, you know, because sometimes we want to respond and react, and then next thing you know, we say we wish we should have, could have, and you know, and that's what landed me in prison, you know, just being spontaneous and just compulsive with just not even thinking, you know. So being the boss of my brain, it has helped me out. It helped me out from getting out of prison, and it helped me out to stay out of prison too, because I came up against a situation, like I said, was the one thing that I would go back for. And I was tested and I stayed the course with the tools that I was given. And I'm so grateful for them because they do work. Thank you.
One thing that I want to share that James said is that you don't just need them to get out of prison. We also need these tools to stay out of prison. And I think that is of utmost importance. So continue to use the tools.
I'm pretty much gonna say the same thing that you and Coach Nelson said. I was very much of a follower and didn't really have a personality of my own. And when people did things that looked like they were so great, again, the impulsivity, which is something I still struggle with a little bit, I just jumped right in. And if I had the tools back then, I know that I wouldn't have spent 5 years at Club Fed like I did. And life would have been different. But that was a learning experience and how I was introduced to GOGI. So I guess everything happens for a reason. But I plan on using the tools from now on so that that never happens again.
At this time, we're going to do our weekly statement of intention. So for me, for like I shared earlier, a brother of mine named Jesse Ceja, he's in Solano working on becoming an alcohol and drug counselor. His brother just OD'd this week, and they're trying to raise money so that they can bury him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to help raise money for that, and just pray about it and get people involved, and you know, just help out any way I can.
Well, today, Boss of My Brain Week, let's see. I commit to sharing this tool no less than 3 times, where I actually describe the tool and help somebody maybe get a grasp on that. So this week, 3 times, Boss of My Brain.
I'm going to share at least once with the explanation and how that worked for me for Boss of My Brain. Boss of My Brain is extremely relevant to me in my transition. It's that one tool that I have to keep in my pocket because, again, the emotional aspect, and this is where I have a voice. I'm gaining my voice, I'm shaping it, and in that, I now have so many choices and decisions to make, and I have to be able to make them with the smart part. So I'm going to share that and my other groups with the explanation of how it works for me. Thank you for that idea, Coach Taylor.
This week, I'd like to commit to being a good father, good husband, good provider, an asset to the community and an example for the community so that they can look at me and see what change actually is, and those who want to commit to making a change can have somebody to look up to and say, hey, if he did it, I can do it too.
And well, this week I'm going to commit to reviewing these GOGI tools, learning them better, putting them more into practice, and just continuously trying to look for that job without frustration, using the boss of my brain when I do get frustrated, and just keep trusting that it will happen for me.
I'm going to pay attention to the source of my thoughts. Are they, am I being the boss of my brain, or is it a habit? Is it an emotional response? And make sure that I have in place alternative ways of behaving that are really more positive for myself, whether it's just taking myself outdoors, belly breathing, calling somebody. There's plenty of other things I could do than react in normal ways that aren't in my best interest. So I'm going to use Boss of My Brain for that.
What I'm gonna commit to this week is to continue to be a servant to those that I can be a servant to, and lately it's been in ways of trying to help folks out, and that's on the other side of the walls, that's trying to get home, or just caught up in situations like with the COVID going around. So I'm gonna just always try to just stay being a servant, because a long time ago when I started using the GOGI tools and I let go and let God, I realized where my possession really was, and I'm totally pleased and happy, elated with that position. So I'm gonna stick to that for this week.
Last week, my intention was to clean up my craft room a little bit. And in doing that, it was kind of cool because I found a project that I was really interested in doing last year, but ever since January, things have gone crazy around our house with my husband's open heart surgery and the COVID and everything. And the project is making purses for girls in Africa. And we, as seamstresses, we make the purse and then we send it over there. And then the women over there are making the feminine products to go inside the purses so that the girls can go to school during a week of the month when otherwise they would have to stay home. And I made 2 purses this week and it really made me feel good. I feel like I'm now being a little bit better at being the boss of my brain.
I've been every day. I've been an encourager. I try to encourage people to use the GOGI tools 24/7. I wake up with my TWAs because I used to have a lot of fears and insecurities. So I wake up every morning, and if I have a negative thought, I just use the boss of my brain, and I use my TWAs to have my positive thoughts, words, and actions, because that's exactly how they go. They work. They work all the time ever since I've used them, and I'm not going to quit. Once in a while, I have to belly breathe once in a while if I get into a certain situation at work or something like that. So belly breathing works good. They all work. All 12 work. You just got to use them and figure out when you have to use them. And then I've been using let go a lot too. But the main thing I've been doing is being an encourager and a servant to other people. Helping other people helps me to have the ultimate freedom. And I never had that before. I got it now. Thank you, Coach Caleb. Thank you, GOGI. Life is awesome.
My intention this week is really, I'm so glad, like I said earlier, that we're doing Boss of My Brain today. I think I need this tool right now in my life more than ever. So my intention is going to be just to go back to that tool every time I feel emotional or hear something I don't want to hear, or let anything, not just in the world, but in personal relationships, really impact me emotionally and get my mind spinning on negative thoughts. And so I'm just my intention is going to be to keep it simple, go back to Boss of My Brain every time I feel emotional and really keep focused on the things that are important. And then on top of that, when things do start to sort of cloud my brain, I think that turning off the news, getting away from the computer, maybe picking up the GOGI book or picking up a book or something positive to read to get the thought replaced very quickly and get me into a better frame of mind. So I'm going to be doing that a lot this week.
My commitment for this week is to make my transition back to LA nice and slow. I know I'm going to encounter some roadblocks there and some difficulties, so I gotta always make sure that I don't let my emotions get the best of me. just, you know, I mean, I want to be of service, of course. I promise this to Johnny and GOGI. You know, you've been a big part of my life, and I want to, you know, return the favor in any way that I can. I'm going to stay working my tools and stay in contact with everybody, and just try to make a difference in somebody's life this week. So thank you.
So at this time, we're going to close our meetings, how we close all GOGI meetings, with the GOGI Pledge of Service. Coach James, are you prepared to do that?
Yeah, I got it. May our commitment to the study of GOGI grant us the joy of giving and receiving, so that our inner freedom may be of maximum service to those we love and infinite others.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Awesome meeting, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we're going to pass it back to Coach Catherine.
Thank you, PowerUp First participants, and thank you all of you out there for joining us. We hope you will return often to these community meetings and ask others to join you in the study of GOGI and continue to find ways to apply what you have learned. This is part of an ongoing series. We look forward to spending more time with you in the future. Have a great day.
Bye.